The security feed showed Sarah and Patricia Sterling circling each other in my foyer like wary wolves, neither willing to give ground. Both women jumped when I opened my office door, their heads snapping toward the sound in perfect synchronization. "Ladies," I said, descending the stairs with deliberate slowness. "Welcome to what the press is calling the Sterling scandal." I held up my phone, showing them the breaking news headlines. Though I think catastrophe might be more accurate. Sarah stepped forward, one hand protectively over her stomach. "James, please. You have to listen." "About the pregnancy?" I cut her off. Interesting timing, considering my vasectomy 2 years ago. I watched the color drain from her face. "Oh, you didn't know about that? I guess Sterling's son will be surprised too." Patricia's head whipped toward Sarah. "What?" I pressed a button on my phone, and the elevator footage appeared on the massive TV screen in the living room. Sarah kissing young Marcus Sterling, their passion evident even in the grainy security footage. "Well," Patricia said with a bitter laugh, "like father, like son." She turned to Sarah. "Did you really think you were special? That you were the only one? Show her, James." I pulled up another file on the screen. A spreadsheet detailing every woman Sterling had seduced and discarded over the past decade. Names, dates, payoffs, all meticulously documented by his wife. 37 women, Patricia continued, her voice razor-sharp, all following the same pattern. He finds them, seduces them, uses them to gather information or influence, then discards them. Usually with a nice severance package and an NDA. She smiled coldly at Sarah. "But you were different, weren't you? You thought you were going to be the one to replace me." Sarah's legs gave out, and she sank onto one of the leather chairs. "I don't understand. How did you know everything?" I finished for her. "Patricia came to me 4 months ago. Seems Sterling wasn't as careful with his personal laptop as he was with his work devices. She found the messages about your little murder plot. That's when we decided to work together," Patricia added. James handled the corporate side, while I focused on the personal destruction. She pulled out her own phone. Speaking of which, the TV screen changed again, showing a video of Sterling in his penthouse office. He was with another woman, young, blonde, wearing Sarah's silver dress from New Year's Eve. "That was filmed yesterday," I said quietly, "while you were picking up your dress from the cleaners for the party. He bought the same dress for her, just like he did for the woman before you, and the one before her." Sarah's face had gone from pale to green. "I'm going to be sick." "The bathroom's down the hall," I said, "though you might want to wait until after you see this next part." I pulled up another document, a trust agreement for a 3-year-old boy in Connecticut. "Congratulations, Patricia. You're a grandmother. Though I suppose Sarah deserves some credit too, since she carried him." Patricia's composure cracked for the first time. "A child? Don't worry. The press already has the story. It should be breaking right about." My phone buzzed. Now, the headlines started rolling in. "Sterling love child scandal rocks corporate world. CEO's secret family revealed. Multiple paternity claims surface against disgraced executive." "But here's where it gets interesting," I continued, pulling up one final document. "Sarah, did you ever wonder why Sterling was so interested in you specifically? Why he worked so hard to seduce you?" Sarah looked up, her eyes red. "What do you mean?" "Show her," Patricia said grimly. I projected an old photograph onto the screen. It showed a much younger Sterling with a group of people at a charity event. In the background, barely visible, was Sarah's mother. "He didn't choose you randomly," I explained. "Your mother was one of his first victims 25 years ago. She killed herself when his promises turned out to be lies." I watched recognition dawn in Sarah's eyes. "You were his chance to repeat history, to corrupt the daughter like he corrupted the mother." Sarah ran for the bathroom then. The sounds of her retching echoed through the house. "The police are on their way," Miranda announced from the doorway. "They have some questions about the murder plot and the child trafficking angle." "Child trafficking?" Patricia asked sharply. Sterling's cousin in Connecticut wasn't just hiding one child, Miranda explained. We found 5 others, all from different mothers, all tied to Sterling's business dealings. My phone buzzed again. A message from Sterling himself. You've won. Name your price. I showed the message to Patricia. She smiled grimly and typed a reply. Everything. Within hours, Sterling was in custody. The scandal had evolved from corporate fraud to something far darker. Sarah was cooperating with authorities, her immunity deal dependent on her testimony about Sterling's criminal enterprise. Patricia filed for divorce, her timing perfect to claim the majority of assets before they could be frozen in the investigation. As for me, I stood in my office watching the sun rise on a new day. The company's stock had plummeted, but my carefully timed short positions meant I'd made more money from its fall than I ever did as CFO. Sterling's empire was in ruins, Sarah's reputation was destroyed, and their web of lies and betrayal had been exposed to the world. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Sarah. I never knew about my mother.
I'm sorry.
I deleted it without responding. Some betrayals go too deep for forgiveness. Some wounds can only be healed by justice or revenge. Detective Chun appeared in my doorway. The DA wants to talk to you about testifying. I nodded, gathering my files. Tell them I have one condition. I picked up a final folder. One I hadn't shown anyone yet. There are more people involved in this than they know. And I want them all to pay. She smiled grimly. Shall we begin?